Let me ask you a question, Cuffy. At any time during the initial stages of your indictment involving this whole Tammy Common thing, did you talk to Big Meech or did you send a message to Big Meech in any way to tell him or to alert him of what was going on?
We sent Big Meech certified mail. Big Meech set me up, and Tammy set me up with the sting in 2013.
Big Meech is back in the spotlight after 50 Cent dropped some paperwork hinting that he might have been cooperating with the feds. The internet went crazy, but the real question is, where did 50 even get this so-called evidence? Apparently, he's got some former BMF insiders backing him up, and they're airing out all the dirty laundry. But one thing's for sure, Big Meech isn't staying silent on this one.
Well, did Blue Da Vinci cooperate or no?
Yeah, he cooperated. I mean, I didn't see it. It was in Miss Mara Shalhoub's book, where his own lawyer said, yeah, if there was anything else that we could do, Your Honor, to help you along with this case.
Word on the streets is that Meech is about to give 50 Cent a front row lesson in how a real kingpin handles disrespect. And trust, this isn't just some petty back and forth. This is street legend status on the line. Now here's where it gets even messier. 50 Cent has a reputation for dropping serious cash to expose people, and once he sinks his teeth in, he doesn't let go. But this time, he might want to think twice because Big Meech isn't just some regular dude from the block. This is Demetrius Big Meech Flannery, the mastermind behind the Black Mafia family, a name that rings bells from coast to coast. Let's break it down real quick. Back in the 1980s.
And then my homeboy that was with me, he was like, Tone Bird, he from BMF too. Tone was like, ask Big Homie what's up with the movie with 50, like what's going on with him from New York. I had to use my New York accent. Yo, what's going on with the 50 Cent movie? So I'm like, oh, yo, Meech, what's up with the movie, with the TV show?
Meech and his younger brother, Terry Southwest T. Flannery, jumped into the game heavy, starting off by pushing $50 bags. But by the early 2000s, they had transformed their hustle into a nationwide empire, moving weight through Michigan, Georgia, Florida, California, Louisiana, and far beyond. That kind of money flow didn't go unnoticed. The feds were watching. So Meech and Terry came up with a slick cover: BMF Entertainment. On the surface, it looked like just another music promotion company, but behind the scenes, that's where the real money laundering was going down.
It's believed that Terry White grew up in an Atlanta housing project. But when FBI and GBI agents arrested him last night, he was living here, a sprawling $200,000 mansion in Jonesboro.
Had a media room where there were 24 TV sets on one wall hooked to a satellite dish. And you could hit a button and all 24 TVs would come.
Meech and his younger brother, Terry Southwest T. Flannery, jumped into the game heavy, starting off by pushing $50 bags. But by the early 2000s, they had transformed their hustle into a nationwide empire, moving weight through Michigan, Georgia, Florida, California, Louisiana, and far beyond. That kind of money flow didn't go unnoticed. The feds were watching. So, Meech and Terry came up with a slick cover: BMF Entertainment. On the surface, it looked like just another music promotion company, but behind the scenes, that's where the real money laundering was going down.
My client would be more than willing to cooperate with you all to help you in this investigation. But now the thing of it is by you admitting what was done, you know what I'm saying, what you done or whatever, but bottom line is, you know, you didn't take the single plea. You went in and...
Plus, let's not forget, Blue Da Vinci wasn't even picked up with the rest of the BMF crew when the feds came crashing down in 2003. When they grabbed Meech, they slapped the cuffs on him and took him straight in. But Bleu, somehow he wasn't. Caught in that same net. Then, by 2004, things got even messier when BMF's logistics boss, Dexter Sosa Hussey, started throwing shade at Bleu too.
I just gotta wait to holler at Tammy before, you know what I'm saying, I know where we at with that, and Tammy is a government informant. So when he said that, I was like, Tammy? What you mean, Tammy? Like, nigga, you ain't heard what's going on with her?
Sosa wasn't just talking in the streets, he was putting it on record in court. See, Bleu showed up with his lawyer, and that's when things took a turn. His lawyer straight up told the judge, "Your Honor, I did forget to mention something earlier. You asked which defendants tried to cooperate, and Mr. McKnight, that's Blue, was one of the people who attempted to work with the government. They debriefed him, but it turned out he didn't really have any useful information on the other defendants.
Giving them information on that they already had and thought it was cool, but you know, that was part of that. You just confirmed other that the other CIs just done told.
And here's where things take a wild turn. Blue Da Vinci's lawyer admitted that his debriefing wasn't even fresh tea. It had gone down months before that court appearance. But to make things even messier, the lawyer also revealed that Blue had a safety valve session earlier that same week. What does that mean? Basically, Blue was ready to talk. But the problem was, he didn't have anything valuable to offer. So yeah, he tried to snitch, but the feds weren't even interested in the crumbs he was serving up. That's when the real question popped off. If Bleu didn't have the goods, then who gave the feds their inside scoop? And this is where it gets crazy. After years of being labeled the snitch, Blue decided to clear his name once and for all. In 2023, during an interview with Cap Capone News, he flipped the script and exposed the real informant, Tammy Cowens. You know, who is Tammy Cowens? She had been Meech's business partner since way back in 2008. After Meech got locked up, Tammy stayed solid, keeping in touch with him and running errands on his behalf. Meech trusted her so much that he actually signed over his life rights to her. That meant Tammy had full control over his story. She could turn Meech's life into a money-making empire. And that's exactly what she did when she teamed up with 50 Cent to co-produce the hit BMF series in 2021. But here's where things turn sideways. According to the paperwork Blue leaked, Tammy wasn't just making TV deals. She was allegedly playing both sides. The leaked documents list her as CS1, a confidential source who worked with the DEA's Atlanta division back in 2009. And guess what? She gave up info that helped crack open a massive money laundering case, leading to the conviction of a heavyweight in the game named Terry White. This wasn't some small-time hustle. Terry White was moving serious weight. And thanks to Tammy running her mouth, the feds got him locked up. But check this, when Tammy first started talking, she wasn't even getting paid. That changed real quick. After her tip helped the DEA take down Terry White, they realized she could be useful, so her handler, DEA Agent Harsh, put her in for a reward. That meant she got a cut from the assets seized in White's operation: cars, cash, properties, and more. But here's the craziest part. Tammy wasn't broke, she wasn't facing charges, and she wasn't even caught up in the street life. She had no criminal record. So why did she do it? Revenge. Word is, Terry White had used Tammy to clean his dirty money without her even knowing. And when she found out, she flipped the script. This wasn't about money or freedom. It was personal. But here's where it gets even messier. Why did Tammy keep snitching after the feds already locked up Terry White? That's where things start connecting. While all this was going down, Big Meech was making moves from behind bars. And trust, this one was bold. In prison, he linked up with a cartel player named Fidel Suarez. This dude wasn't just some small-time hustler. He ran a whole trucking operation in California and had already been on the feds' radar. They investigated and arrested him twice, first in 2005 and again in 2009 for drug trafficking. But both times, the charges didn't stick. Meech had a plan, a wild one. He wanted to use Suarez's pipeline to keep moving product even while locked up. That way, no matter how long his sentence was, the money would keep flowing. But there was a problem. He needed someone on the outside to handle business, and that's where Tammy came in. According to the paperwork, in September 2011, Meech reached out to Tammy, CS1 teen, and asked her to help coordinate a shipment with Suarez. By then, Tammy and Suarez were already in contact. Court records show Suarez had reached out to Tammy just to check in on Meech. But that call kicked off something much bigger. With Tammy now plugged in, Meech made her the middlewoman, connecting Suarez with his longtime associate, Dion Cuffy Gatling. Cuffy wasn't just any dealer. He ran the Gatling Trafficking Organization, a crew responsible for flooding the streets of St. Louis with product from 2009 to 2014. Together, Meech, Suarez, and Cuffy were setting up a major operation. But there was one problem. They had a snake in the garden. Tammy was secretly feeding everything back to the feds the whole time. Thanks to her reports, law enforcement gathered enough dirt to take Cuffey down. On March 13, 2014, they arrested him, and he was later sentenced to 27 years for drug trafficking and ordering a hit that took someone's life. But here's the real head-scratcher. Meech never caught a single charge for setting up the whole operation. And that got everybody asking the same question: how did Meech dodge an indictment when his hands were all over the deal? It's crystal clear the feds knew exactly what was happening. But here's the twist. Tammy lied to protect Meech. When questioned in court, she was asked directly about paragraph 8 of the report, which stated that CS1 told investigators Meech had coordinated drug shipments between Suarez and Cuffey. When they pressed her on it, Tammy denied it, twice. She covered for Meech without hesitation. But after that, the feds put a red flag on her name. They realized she couldn't be trusted anymore. And just when you thought it couldn't get messier, turns out Tammy wasn't just tangled up in the case. She was also sleeping with one of the DEA agents working the investigation. That little fling ended up compromising the entire case. Tammy was playing every angle like a chess master, but eventually it all started crashing down on her. By March 2015, things took a turn when Tammy discovered a suppression motion filed by Cuffey's legal team. That motion was a huge problem. It could expose her identity as the confidential source. And once Tammy realized her name might get out, panic hit hard. And for good reason. Cuffey wasn't just any dealer, he had a history. Court records show he was convicted for ordering a hit on Theus Howard in 2010, all because Howard snitched on Cuffey's brother. Then in 2013, he was tied to another hit on Terrence Morgan for the same reason. If Cuffey found out Tammy was the one who snitched on him, it would have been lights out for her. Terrified, Tammy ran to the feds for protection, but they ignored her. With nowhere else to turn, she made one last desperate move. She went straight to Big Meech himself. But after all those years of loyalty, Meech wasn't exactly ready to return the favor. When Tammy came to him, scared for her life, all Meech said was that he didn't want his name tangled up in any of it. After that cold response, Tammy flipped the script completely, doing everything she could to erase Meech's name from the case. She even dragged the DEA agent she had been messing with into the chaos, accusing him of being jealous of her bond with Meech. But none of it saved her. Once Cuffey got locked up, it didn't take him long to figure out who snitched. And when he did, it was game over. He filed for a Franks hearing, forcing all the government agents and informants, including Tammy, to face him in court. Fast forward to 2024, Blue Da Vinci sat down for another Cap Capone news interview, but this time he had backup. Cuffey himself called in from prison, ready to air it all out. And he didn't hold back. He claimed the real reason Meech never got hit with charges was because he played the system like a pro, using third-party cooperation to protect himself, even if it meant throwing others under the bus. And now, thanks to 50 Cent, all this old dirt is being dug back up. The moment 50 started talking, the whole internet tuned in. Love him or hate him, when 50 speaks, the streets listen. And he's not done yet. He's already threatening to drop a full tell-all, exposing every shady move Meech ever made. So now we have to ask, is Meech really guilty? Or is this just another 50 stunt? Drop your thoughts in the